minds think alike. Great minds podcast. Great minds think alike. Great minds podcast. Great minds think alike. Great minds podcast. Great minds think alike. Let's rock. You're now tuned into the Great Minds podcast. You're now tuned into the Great Minds podcast.
All right, welcome to the Great Minds podcast. This is Derrick.
This is Vaughn.
And we're here with Hillz from Philly and Russ Thomas, second time on the podcast, so he definitely family.
Yes, sir.
Welcome, man. We going.
Yeah, no doubt.
Thank you. Let me go ahead and let me say that I'm in Orlando right now. I don't want nobody in Orlando to get mad at me for. I rep Germantown and Philly, but I do reside in Orlando, man. I don't want nobody to get upset. So big up Orlando 407. What up?
Yeah, we know Russ from the BX.
Yes, sir.
Chop it up. Fred The Godson.
All day.
Rest in peace. One of the lyrical greats. Got a project coming out with Hillz. So we just here to chop it up about that, chop it up about rap, and have a dope conversation as usual. So salute, fellas, man. Thank y'all for pulling up.
Thank you for having me.
No doubt. Thanks for having us.
All right, so we last time we had Russ on. We know he's from the BX. I want to tap into Hillz a little bit, man. Give us a little bit of your background.
Born and raised in Germantown and Philly. Moved to Orlando probably was like early teens. Then like late teens, I moved to Atlanta for a couple years and came back, and I just be bouncing back and forth until I went up to New York. I would bounce back. Atlanta's my second home, man. I've lived in Atlanta 3 times. I love Atlanta. You know what I mean? But that's as far as like upbringing and whatnot, that's it. Start getting started. My baby mom was 4 years older than me, and I was 15 when I got with her. Excuse me. And she went to school with DJ Nasty and DJ Khaled.
Okay.
And if you threw a party, if any up top artist that came to Orlando, there's one promoter that they worked with consistently, and so carry crates, whatever would get the underage Hillz into a venue, that was it. You know what I mean? So I think that's where the love of it came from. One of my OGs, Unique Sidney Portier, was signed to Paris Smith. He taught me how to write my 16s when I was probably like 14, 15. But like that was kind of the start. And then like I have a lot of beautiful accidents, like things that leave impressions that really were never supposed to happen. Like what put me into kind of set the stage for business was Mobb Deep had a show in Orlando, and the limo left him. And Khaled came out and was like, he at the time he had a BMW 3 Series, and he's like, "Yo, I ain't got no limo." And he took Havoc and Noid, I think, and we rapper Noid, and we had Prodigy. Me and my baby mom had Prodigy and the road manager in the car, and we drove him to the hotel. That turned into a conversation. And then next thing you know, we was promoting the show for 112. And that's what kind of started the business side of things. Like, oh, like this is what's up. I kind of fuck with this. You know what I mean? And then I'll be on and off doing stuff. And then I think like it was, I want to say like, it was 04. A friend of mine was working at Full Sail, and he met Young Lord from Diddy's Hitman at the airport, and come to find out he was actually teaching Young Lord's little brother at Full Sail. This is why I talk about beautiful accidents. Like the limo leaves these people, just kind of like sparks the business side of things. Like back then, like 04, nobody's really collabing like that with like independent artists, whatever. So I just asked my man, I was like, "Yo, like hit up Young Lord and ask him how much you want for a record." And he's like, "All right." So he hits him up, whatever. And Young Lord was like, "Well, I really don't do one-off records, but send me a project or send me like 3 records. Let me see what's up. Um, so sending sending I think 4 records. Never forget, I was working in a warehouse. I was on a forklift. Got a New York call, pick it up. And it was young Lord and was like, "Yo, it's just fire. I wanna I wanna do as many records with you as you can do in a week."
Wow.
Mm.
I was like, "I bet." But at the, when you're looking back at the time frame again, a bigger picture, I'm thinking, let me take people I rock with up with me because I'll knock out as many records as I can. But if I kind of get stuck, we can knock out like 4 or 5 records or whatever. And now I can try to pitch like a company deal. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking
Yeah,
like big.
definitely.
Nobody really had the money to go at the time besides me. So I I just got married at the time, and my wifey was like, "If you gonna take all these dudes with you, and when you come back, I want to do da 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 da." So I'm like, man, hold on, let me jump back in the street and make some more money. So
For real.
and like dead ass, like 3 grand short of my goal, I got snitched on for a piece of ass, and I did 3 years.
Oh wow.
Okay.
So that kind of like got kind of put that on pause. So when I came home, right after I came home, like, all right, let me get busy. I found out my mom had stage 4 cancer.
Mm.
Mm.
So again, everything on pause. So my mom died a year later. I go to Philly to bury her, and my godfather's an old Jewish lawyer, and he's at the time he was like 70 something. But he pull up on you at back then in a G35 convertible, blasting 50 on you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's crazy.
like
Gangster with it.
yeah. So he had ran into this producer that works with Dre and Vidal on a plane. Again, all like beautiful accidents.
Yep.
And I buried my mom. He had told me, he was like, "Yo, come by my office or whatever." So I went to the office downtown, and he puts me on the phone with the dude. And the dude was like, "Yo, send me something." So I sent him something. The dude sends me 2 zip files and was like, "Pick whatever you want. You can have as many records as you want. I rock with you." This dude also happened to have did a lot of work for state property.
Mm.
Okay.
So, all right, cool, bet. So around that time, like I'm dealing with my mom's death. The producer, my godfather, and another dude, they kind of dragged me and was like, "This ain't what your mom want." You know what I mean? Like, you need to get back to work. So I ended up with doing a record with Freeway, and then that started a conversation and dialogue with. As I was doing things, I was like asking the producer. I was like, "Yo, you mind if I like contact people and try to shop your beats for you, whatever?" And he was like, "Yeah." So he had a Grammy, so it's cool to say you were an assistant to a Grammy-winning producer. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
Changes everything.
that made
Yeah.
conversations a lot easier. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
were a
It
lot less
definitely
awkward.
does.
Right, you know what I mean? So it was like, all right, cool. So as he seen that I was being real serious about everything, Beans had a situation, and I tried to give Beans to another management company. Like I wanted to Philly and chase Beans around the city for like
Mm.
days while I'm waiting for this other management team to come up there, whatever. And Beans was real cool, whatever. A year goes by, he didn't end up signing the deal with the management company. All Star Weekend comes to Orlando, and I pushed for him to come down, and he came down, and like I don't know, before the night was over, he was like, "I want you and your man to help manage me."
Okay.
All right, that wasn't scheduled. Beautiful, cool, beautiful accident. And then he went away. So for the tax joint, whatever. And long story, trying to make this as fast as possible. But past that, I just decided it was time for me to get back into doing me. Because after Beans went away, I was kind of burnt out. Like I was kind of like, damn man, I'm tired of doing things, and they get right here and then they stop. So I was like, nah, I'm gonna do this. So I did a record for my mom, and this is kind of where things get up to New York. I did a record for my mom, and I was going to go to Philly, and my partner in New York had a problem, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go to New York first, then I go to Philly. I was booking my flight at the moment, so boom. While I'm on on the plane taxiing ready to take off, I messaged the arsonist. And I was like, we had been talking on and off, nothing crazy, but we had been talking on and off. And I was like, yo, I'm gonna be in the city. He was like, pull up on me. All right, bet. This is how I meet Fred. So when I get to the studio, he opens the door. I see Fred. I know who Fred is, and I'm always honest about everything. I did not truly understand the magnitude of his catalog. I just knew Fred wasn't no nigga that you play with. You know what I mean? Like Fred will bust your ass with some bars.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
So, um, Fred was real cool. You know what I'm saying? Real quiet. Went into the A room. Oz was like, "So what do you want?" And I was like, "Listen, let me play you a couple of records. I'm here for your opinion. You know what I mean? I want to work with you, but I want you to kind of push, direct it." So he was like, "All right, cool." So I queued up the record I did for my mother. As soon as he plays the record, on records on 15 seconds, he stops it. Who made that? I already know you like the beat. Cool, bet. You know what I mean? Fred sticks his head in. He's like, "Yo, can I sit in?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." Um, Play the joint. And after the first 4 bars, I see Fred put his head down and close his eyes. I could see him out the side of my. I'm like, everybody that hears the song, like they be like, "Yo, the song fucked my head up." You know what I mean? Because it took me 3 days to write it. Like I cried recording it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it was me purging my soul. You know what I mean? So after the song's done, Fred's like, "Is that like you just wrote that like that's a story or like that's really real?" And he quotes back to me my first 4 bars. And I was like, "Nah, nigga, that's my life. My whole family dead. Like all I got is kids. Everybody else is out of here." And he was like, "Bro, I was in the greatest mood all day. And you fucked my head up. Like that song gonna save somebody's life, but my head fucked up." He said, "Listen, I want you to listen carefully to what I say. I'm gonna throw a number at you what I normally charge people, but whatever you throw back at me, I promise you we're doing one record together." So
Yeah.
all right. So I throw him a number. He was like, "All right, bet." First beat that I picked, turned out to be the song that y'all heard, the "We Don't Believe You" joint,
Okay.
and we did that. 2 days later, we were shooting the video. While we're shooting the video, me and him are shooting. We're recording a freestyle too in between all of this, and then like 2 3 weeks later, he was like, "Yo, let's do a project."
Oh,
Wow. Wow.
Right. I
You
know
know,
I
it's
covered a lot of ground, so I
that
apologize.
was beautiful though. That was beautiful though. The story need to be told, right? Nah, but it seems like the thing about you, you were always ready for whatever moment it was. Even when it back in from driving, Prodigy, whatever, to the hotel. Like you always was ready and you always had
Yeah,
music ready. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people aren't ready for the opportunity because I always tell people things can happen anywhere. You could
yeah.
be in a mall, and back in the day, not as much, but up
Right.
here, I bump. You can see Jay-Z in the mall. You can
You
go
see
see
anybody?
Mario Winans in the mall. If you're not ready, you're not ready. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
you
you ain't
ready for
got
the
time to go
opportunities.
home.
Can't say I'll be right back. All right. Nah, but so when you move, I wanted to double back real quick. So I know it's different. So when you move from Philly
Right.
to Orlando,
You're
yo,
gonna get me in trouble.
no. I'm just saying, especially in that time frame, it was totally different, like night and day. Because like Orlando
It
is
was a
different
whole nother
now,
world.
whole nother world. So how was that for you
I'm
when you
honest,
first
I
made a
hated it
move?
here. When
Yeah,
I
I want to
moved
say
here, I came right before school started. So my mom came down first. I went to basketball and soccer camp in Philly, and then after I was done, I came back. And I flew I'll never forget my first day in Orlando. I flew in. I had $25 in my pocket, and my mom lost the keys in a moving box, and I was stranded at the airport.
Oh man.
And the airport food is expensive as shit. And this back when they had little TVs on
Yeah.
the armrest, and
Yeah.
I
Word.
I
Little
fucked up all
homies.
my bread watching TV. So like hours later, I had stewardesses buying me food because I'm calling home collect, like, please get me a ticket. Like I want to go back home to Philly. I don't like it here. This shit is stupid.
I can only imagine.
You
I
know
can
what I mean? Like there
imagine.
was a language barrier, slang being slang. Like now with music, it's slang has traveled a lot better, but I didn't understand nothing that nobody was saying. Nobody understood nothing I was
It's a
saying.
different
You know what I
language.
mean? Right. It was, yeah, completely different. Like fashion was totally different.
Oh
You know
word.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like So it was a culture shock. The weather was fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, why is it TV saying 84 degrees, but it feels like 250? What the fuck is this? You know what I'm saying?
Word up.
All right, so
But,
uh,
but it was
we
cool.
know Hillz and Fred got the project coming out. What role did you play in it?
Me.
Ru-
So,
No, Russ.
Russ, go ahead. Go
Yo,
ahead, Russ.
so when this all happened, it's crazy because, you know, Hillz and Fred was already in the progress of building this whole thing together, getting the Clash of the Titans, you know, all put together. And, you know, at the time when Fred, you know, was working with him, and I've been seeing pictures and stuff online and everything like that, you know, Fred, you know, spoke to me about it. He's like, yo, I'm about to do a project. Dude named Dave, his name's Hillz. That nigga nice, you know what I mean? Got a lot of experience, shit, yo, the show will be fire. So it's like when Fred would be working and when he was alive, it was like so many people he worked with, it slips your mind
Yeah.
of who directly. But when he passed, Hillz actually refreshed my memory when he called me and reached out. He was on a prayer line. He asked about my mother. He heard stories and the conversations we had with each other based on the conversations I had with Fred. It's all started coming to me that everything was just pinpointed on the conversations. And then boom, next thing you know, organically, when I started transitioning into building this legacy, this what it meant, you know?
Yeah.
This is, it just didn't mean be behind Fred's music. I mean, be behind whatever Fred was involved in and try to, you know, play my role as, you know, my brother and assistance to Hillz. You know what I'm saying? And we just meshed, yo. We just meshed, man. And just like he told y'all that how that record messed Fred head up for the whole day, yo, he was laughing because when he sent me, yo, we was conversating every day, right? So he's like, yo, you never heard the song that I played Fred? I was like, nah. He said, by my mom's? I said, nah. So we was texting back and forth every day. Yo, he sent me that joint. I ain't contact him for like the next 3-4 days, bro.
This nigga went MIA. I'm
Yo,
like,
I went
damn, man, what happened to my man?
this is a true story, bro. I did not call him. Yo, he messed me up so bad, bro. I had to like get, yo, it's like real, like, and then I seen why.
Yeah.
Fred was like, and then with, yo, y'all get to hear it soon.
We'll hear it soon. Hopefully, I was gonna say, yo,
it really hits. You know, I got goosebumps listening to it, and then knowing that my brother listened to it and his reaction, and then with Hill's artistry and the beat, it just all meshes together, man.
I think what hit Russ too is like I lost both my brothers a year apart,
okay.
and so in the opening line, like,
yeah, bro,
I said, dear mama, from your last born, damn, I really miss you. Tell Stephen and John I was looking at her pictures. You know what I mean? And from Russ' point of view, like, you know, when I met Fred's family had never experienced like chronic loss, like significant, like repetitively. Like all of us have had some form of loss, but like my shit looked like a chain reaction, like doom, 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 doom. And so that was like Fred was looking at it from the lens of like, nigga, how the fuck is you still standing? You know what I mean? Like, why aren't you back shit crazy?
Yeah.
And for the things that their family has gone through from February forward to now over the last year, it's like we were meant to all be together because some of the things that they've experienced, like I already know what that's like.
Yeah, I think my man.
I can only, you know, like you understand when somebody, so that's frustrating. You know what I mean? Where you'll be like,
Yeah.
I hate when somebody's like, you know, time it'll get better. No, nigga, like time doesn't make shit go by. Like it's still there. You know what I mean? It only, I see a commercial for Cancer Institute, nigga, I start crying. You know what I mean? Like I can't, it triggers so
And
it's
you know what it
we're
is too.
genuinely like family. You know what I mean? And that's
And you know what it is too. I mean, cut you off, but
no,
like,
go ahead.
like when you have, and I know I experienced that with my losing my uncle. My mom experienced this, like losing a sibling. Like so, like
Hmm.
losing a sibling. I think no one can explain that pain to you, but someone that has gone through it as well.
Right.
So it's like, so I talk to my mom about it all the time. We talk about it. She still can't get over it. And it's been 7 years. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So we talk about it, and she hasn't. Certain things she just can't do it. It'll trigger her. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So I get that, and I know Russ. We spoke about it offline about. I think it's dope, Hillz, that you kept that bond because like your bond was with Fred, but then once Fred passed, it extended to his family. You know what
It
I'm saying?
doesn't help that on when Fred was in the hospital, it was the first time I ever saw Russ' face. I heard about Russ,
Yeah,
but I'd never seen him.
Okay.
yeah.
And
See, a
during the
lot of
Zoom calls,
times,
I looking at Fred, looking at him, and because
Yeah.
there's so much similarities, and I used to kind of like play with my head a little bit. I'm like, damn, my man really looked like Fred. They even laugh alike.
like, it's crazy. The crazy thing about what Hillz is saying is I was in transition of reaching out to everybody that worked with Fred, and then it was a lot of people reaching out to me as well. And Hillz was the one who really reached out. Like, look, this was what we was on, and in the conversations I had with Fred, it matched up. And I just want to say, at the end of the day, the way Hillz came into the picture helped us a lot with his music, his background things, and what I seen he was talking about. And I said to myself, this is what Fred's talking about, you know, making sure that his music is right, you know, from the business perspective, and you know, making sure everything's registered, making sure, you know, I was going to sleep some nights. I want to make sure my man is getting all he deserves, man.
Right.
All
Yeah.
his music, he need to get paid. And I was already on the type of time anyway. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Exactly
So
what
it just,
I was in the y'all ear with the same thing. Like, hey man,
yeah. Like,
Yeah.
yo, like Fred usually needs somebody sometimes to get on his nerves, to really push him, to make
Well,
sure
well, you
you
know how
check
it
his
is
checks.
though. With an artist though, and Derrick, you can speak on this too. I always see from the outside looking in, like any content creator, like especially like I don't care if you draw
paint
pictures
or
or you paint, whatever you do, you care about the art. So a lot of times you need somebody behind you, like, nah. Make sure this stuff is lining up right.
For
Because
the
a lot of
business
artists
part.
get
Yeah.
caught and they're not thinking about the business part. They're doing it for the love. And next thing you know, the business ain't right. So then it comes back and they start not owning something and not getting their just due. So you need somebody like that. A lot of times I feel that you need somebody in your corner to do that. You know, so
Absolutely, I agree. And at the end of the day, you know, when you do something like that, that goes a long haul, not just for the now purposes, but for later on the back end.
exactly.
And doing all this stuff that I've been doing is trying to assist certain artists. I say it all the time. If you got a record with Fred and you got something rocking with Fred, your best chances for it to really hit hard is to collaborate with the family so we can do what we can do from our side
Of course.
as you do what you do on your side. And it might sound complicated if you don't have no experience at what you're doing, but check this out. All these talks with my brother and what I've been learning, it came to a head right when it was time to jump off with We Don't Believe You. You know what I'm saying? I already had all these different connections and sources and things I could reach out to play my part in the best way for Fred's side. And then Hillz do what he do with his side. And we here. You know, we rocking. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
All right. So tapping into the album a little bit, are there any features? I know Arsonist did the first single. Who the production by and who's any other
Arson,
features in there?
Arsonist did. There's 3 records with Heat Makers. Definitely another one's definitely going on. Clash of the Titans. Um, I was thinking about holding one for the solo that was really gonna come out right after, like 2 months after the Clash of the Titans. But I don't know. We might put that on there. But Uh, Fred got 38 special on there. Fred, the day we agreed to do the project, he had told me to come over the house, and when I went over there, Special called him on FaceTime. He was like, "Yo, he introduced me to Spesh, and Spesh was coming to the studio the next day, and he, Fred was like, "Yo, let me get you to jump on this hook for this record for us, whatever." Spesh went in, knocked it out. So it's me and Fred pretty much, and Spesh is on one, and we may add one or two features. Um, the Freeway record, I got that tucked off to the side, and I got a record with Ace Hood tucked off to the side somewhere too. So
Cool.
we'll see.
Yeah, Ace Hood's
Um,
dope too. I think a
I
lot of
like
people.
Ace Hood.
Yeah, I like him
Nah,
a lot, man.
he gets slept on. Ace can
Very
spit.
underrated. Very underrated.
That emergency record he got with with Movado is one of my favorite
Mhm.
records ever. Production wise, also there's a dude Fred picked one beat called from the dude named Bass producer Bass, and my man Godzilla's did actually produce the record for me, and me, Fred, and Spesh record.
Hmm.
Um, and I think so far everything else is art heat makers so
All
far.
right.
Dope. Can't
So
go wrong with
so
that.
word, you can't go wrong with
Nah.
that. So as far as that single, right? We don't believe you. I like it a lot. You know what I'm saying? It's something that we always say growing up. Like we don't believe you. We need more from you. Like it's something we always say. Like you just think that. So what was your mindset behind that song? Was like did you guys already have that idea? Who had the idea first, or did you kind of like collaborate on that idea, or how
All
that
right,
came
so
about?
here's how it works. So the night that I meet Fred, I picked that beat, and I'm like, that's the one. That's the one for our feature, whatever, right? So he's like, all right. Ours had another session coming in, so Fred was like, let me. He's like, you got something you think works for that? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I know I got it. I know I got at least the first verse already in my phone. He was like, let me hear it. So that's the first verse on the song. So I'm like, all right, bet. So when I leave, Oz texted me and said, check your email. I'm sitting out eating dinner in what the fuck was I think it was in Tribeca or some shit. But so I'm listening to it, the headphones, and I just got a smile on my face. And I'm like, damn, Fred went the fuck in on this shit. You know what I'm saying? And normally I have kind of a relaxed delivery, but I'm like, Fred's delivery is so relaxed, but he's so in the pocket. I feel like I might have to get hype on the record. I don't even like. I'm starting to already wonder like, how do I even approach the record? Um, so I text Fred, and because Fred gave me the math, I'm like, yo, thanks, King. He was like, nah, I really liked your verse. And I was talking to Russ and a couple other people, and they picked apart the fact that I started using the Arabic or the Islamic references,
Uh,
and it was like Fred just kind of looked at me and smirked when I started going into that, and he was like, all right, you know what I mean? So I went in the next day and did reverses. All right, so we didn't have the hook really, but we have the video guy showing up in 2 days. So all right, so this is how it busts down. So shout out to Tanner Street Heat Films. He shoots the video. I was actually when I'm going to New York, I was going to get a feature through him and shoot the video with him. So
okay.
I already have the video. He's already set up and booked. But the artist that I was trying to deal with was he was taking too long to get back on which beat he wanted, and by now me and Fred are already taking off. So this is how this works. So he's coming to shoot the video, but we don't have a hook on the record yet. I did my verses, he's done his verse, and we've already agreed to start recording a freestyle because I'm like, I want to do freestyle. He's like, what you want to do? I'm like, I want to do shook ones. He was like, you ain't got no verse for shook ones. I like run off the verse. He was like, get in the booth. I'm like, all right, bet. So they setting up the video shit, and I'm like, I do my shit in one take. Do my ad libs. I shoot back over to the A room. I'm like, oh, so I need to do my hook, man. We don't even have the hook ready for the video, dude. So I'm listening to the hook get mixed in Studio A. They mixing down the freestyle in Studio B. Buddy setting up the video shit. Like to this day, I still say from an artist point of view, that was like the dopest shit. But that's how that came about. So the hook, actually, I wrote that to something else, and that was the end of a verse. Somebody had said something that made like an allegation that I heard locally, and it wasn't about me, but you know when you hear people, they just talk, they
Yeah,
talk.
talking.
So I just happened to have read a post, and I thought to myself, "I'm gonna believe you."
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
and,
crazy.
and that's how I ended the verse. That's exactly how I ended it, and I looked at it and I was like, I think Fred actually had said something about not believing somebody. That's what triggered me to go look at
Yeah.
that verse, and I just pulled the last 4 bars off the verse.
Right.
So,
But it's so relatable though. It's relatable. We all say that about something that we might hear, you know.
Absolutely.
Yo, and you know what's so crazy about Fred's verse for this first single? It's just like the conversations in Hillz Road and what he's saying. Like, it's crazy. Like, you know, you claim to be street, you better reach the requirements. He'll reach them requirements, bro. And then he was like, I told Hill I gotta stay on the hills. My bitch like red bottom, she gotta stay in them hills. And then he said, we like Shisky and
Yes,
Hill.
stay on the hills.
Yeah.
Don't play with me, Duke. We like
Don't play with me,
Shisky and
Duke.
Hill.
We not just
And he was like coaching
yeah.
Fred with
Matter
the
of
business part. And he's looking at him like Mike Krzyzewski, and he's him.
right.
And he says, don't play with me, Duke. We like Shisky and Hill. Like, come on, bro. Like,
that's actually when Fred saw the video. We shot the video. I stayed the first time I came up. I was there 5 days. I left I think 2 days after we shot the video. I came back a week later, and the video was done. And I showed Fred. And if you look like that part where he said, "Don't play with me, Duke. I'm like Shisky here." In the video, we both in sync put up the jump shot
crazy.
at the end of it. The way we both kind of spin around, like we didn't talk about anything. We just shot it in the studio, and Fred, everybody that was in the studio was like, "Y'all look like y'all in sync,
Yeah.
right? But y'all on the same page."
Yeah.
And you know, from food to bars to beats to sports, like Fred's the sibling that I lost a long time ago that I needed to have again. You know what I mean? Like I needed somebody. Well, I had a friend that passed away in a car accident named Ray, and he used to bug the shit out of me after my mom died. Like, bro, get in the studio. I'm like, I don't want to. Fuck this shit. Fred made me go from just wanting to write as an outlet to nah, nigga, like do it.
Right.
Yo, and
You
to
know,
piggyback off that, to piggyback off that, a lot of artists that work with him, people think it's just the collaboration or the features. Nah, that's that segment in the studio, that energy he puts off is like a motivation tool, man. Like when people see the loss and his greatness in comparison to being inside that studio, it make you want to go even harder. You know, you've heard it from Jim, you heard it from Fat Joe, you heard it from many artists that work with him in the studio. There's artists that reached out to me and said, yo, Fred was like our Jay-Z, yo, in the studio. He'll knock 4 songs out and just, you know, keep going.
No doubt.
Word.
I mean, Russ, I told you, like, I wanted to quit. And I'm like, you know, I wanted to put out the single and stick everything else in the vault. And Russ was like, nah, like, that's not what bro want. And, like, I don't know, for whatever reason, like, I had a dream and I seen my mom and I seen Fred at the same time. And I was like, nah, all right.
Yeah. So Rush, just to move forward before we wrap. What's coming up next for Fred?
Oh man, big things, man. Yes, we got the single about to drop soon at the end of January. You know, we scheduled for the 29th. Everything's supposed to be launched off around that date. And obviously you guys seen the post that he's been solidified for street name.
Yeah.
Frederick Thomas,
Dope.
Fred The Godson Way, right there, Leggett Ave, Kelly Street,
Yes.
across the street, right there next to our building we grew up in, where the birth of the greatness was experienced, man, through that street name, man. It's like on his birthday, we'll have the reveal. You know, we coordinating out the logistics and working with the New York City Council and the police, you know, the Fred The Godson Foundation. His wife, Leanne, is headed front and getting this stuff organized. And, you know, we've been on the phone and trying to put things together for this special day. And on that day, we got the album dropping to the single. So, you know, right now, just working, bro, just interviews, you know, pushing things to level out between We Don't Believe You single and Fred's upcoming ventures. And it's going to be a lot, bro. Like, you know, Fred going to be talking, you know, in February where his birthday come, he always loved to drop something.
Right.
And I want that heavy traffic. So right now, trying to, you know, work things out, get promotions on top, and then I can handle a couple birds in one stone with Hillz project, Fred's project, and it's all fluently working out, you know?
Dope.
Yeah, I want to add one thing. I just forgot to ask. How we talked about having your business together, right? And this is why it's important. I got an example for you why it's important. All right. In 1989, when Jack Nicholson did Batman, he normally got $10 million a movie. He said, "I take $6 million a movie for this movie, but I want a percentage of how much the movie does." He ended up making $107 million
Yeah, that's
off that movie.
Money.
And that's why
You
Jack
know,
Nicholson is always at those games. Like,
you know, there's a musical trade-off to that, and that's that dude Jason Weaver from
yeah,
Yeah, he was on
for the
singer,
Lion King, from the Lion,
Lion
right?
King.
Yeah.
Right. And he turned down the amount and took a percentage.
Percentage,
Yep.
yeah.
And that's
I
what
think
kids
I
and
think Jay-Z
adults
did the
should see
same
that.
when he sold Rockaware. I think he sold like 90% of it for a nice amount, and he kept 10% of it. So got his money
Yeah.
up front, whether it did good or bad. You know, he got 10% of
Yeah.
what it was.
So that's why it's important for everybody listening to make sure your business is right and don't always take the bag. The bag isn't always what you should have.
The
All money
bag
ain't good
isn't
money.
always you should have. You're right, Vaughn, because at the end of the day, through this experience, I've told Hillz, there's so many artists throwing the bag. Like, yo, I see what you're doing. Yo, you can manage me, I got the bag. And what I'm saying, nah, I gotta solidify, bro. I don't have time for that. I'm not gonna accept anything, you know, right now. You know, bro's more important. And I don't wanna put you in a position where, you know, I have to, you know, attend to you and I can't attend to my family, you know, Fred's music, the foundation. This joint is a lot, bro. Like
Yeah.
it's
You
a
can't compromise
lot.
that stuff.
And people thinking it's easy. Nah, it's emotional tactics involved with me, you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
as well. You know, it's sensitive. So at the end of the day, when I learned and the time is right, I told him, you know, reach back at me later, you know, because you know, the bigger my brother gets, it will establish a machine where it won't take much of my time. And that's what I'm trying to solidify. Make sure all the business is straight. You know, make sure everything is under paperwork. Make sure everything is registered. Make sure everything is in its place. That way, the back end of things later on with Fred's legacy will be good for him and his family and his girls. You know.
No doubt.
Well, we appreciate y'all pulling up, man.
Yo, all day, bro. You already know.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you again for having us, man. Appreciate the love.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate
I
the
was really
forum.
looking forward to that project and anything you put out. You know, we support Russ. Russ is bro for sure.
yeah, Hillz, we connected now.
Where
Honest.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yo, Hillz, and you know, if you don't know, you know, Derrick, he got his music popping too, bro. Like, you know, we all involved. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Let's
you know,
talk about it.
I think the recycle, the energy is real, bro. I told you what I experienced tonight, man. This is some real stuff. You know what I mean?
Everything I've ever done has always been like almost like playing checkers. Like but like you work with the person here and that person's here, and then you figure out that they know somebody that's like right there, and then you like, yo, but boom, and you loop it back in. If anything that makes sense is good music and good energy, I'm with it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we're definitely.
And energy is gravy. You know what I mean? So if Russ say the music is everything is good too, so I look like we already got something lined up. What's up?
Word up.
Yeah, we'll connect offline. Hillz, if you want to just throw your social media in case anybody want to link up.
My artist page on Facebook is Hillz Music 407. YouTube channel is Hillz Music 407. Thank you to paperchaser.com for throwing the video up too right now. I think we at like 17,000 views right now.
Shout out to Paper Chaser. Word up. Shout out to Paper Chaser.
Word up on that. We on like in the last like week. You get hit Hillz Music MGMT, Hillz Music Management on Twitter, Hillz Music on IG, and yeah, and it's singles available on all streaming platforms right now too. Go get it.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? But Google Hillz and Fred the Godson, and you're gonna get a laundry list.
How about you, Russ? With your info?
Yeah, y'all follow me on Russ PG on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? I'm on Twitter as well. You know, getting my Facebook about to launch, and all my other outlets will be the same correct spelling, Russ PG. Y'all make sure y'all follow Fred The Godson Music, all correct spelling, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Y'all follow Fred The Godson Foundation as well, all correct spelling on all social platforms.
Let's
get it.
Go hit Fred The Godson Foundation and donate, because they are definitely doing great things. They're doing back to school drives, giving out book bags, giving out jackets for the cold, doing things for the kids for sports. You know what I mean? So listen, it's not everything. It's all about the community. Like that was big for Fred, and it's not. You know, I've seen people say certain things like everything's legit. They definitely are putting all their money back into the community, and a million big ups to Leanne and Russ for that. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
I salute y'all for that.
Cool.
Word.
All right. Well, you can catch us on IG at the Great Minds Podcast, on Twitter at the Great Minds P1. Here on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, anywhere you can listen to podcasts. So appreciate you brothers pulling up.
Word
all
up.
day.
Appreciate
all
you.
love, y'all.
Check us out.
Salute to the
Subscribe.
podcast. Salute to Great Minds. Appreciate you, Von. Appreciate you, Derrick. Yo, Hillz, you know the vibes.
All right.
We're gonna
Peace.
keep working.
Love
Let's
you,
build,
King.
y'all.
Great minds think alike. Great Minds Podcast. Great minds think alike. Great Minds Podcast. Great minds think alike. Great Minds Podcast. Great minds think alike. Let's rock. You're now tuned into the Great Minds Podcast. 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 Derrick and Vaughn, oh boy, like Cam on a song. Culture safe now, thank God. The panic is gone. Time to heal from the pain. Take the bandages off. You gotta win. The stakes are high like a cannabis bomb. Okay, it's game time. Picture with the bars, that's a FaceTime. Great minds spreading faster than a rumor through the grapevine. Vaughn and Derrick deserve the merit. All salute them. It's more than just a podcast. Show it's like a movie. Vaughn and Derrick, what up? Great minds think alike. It's the Great Minds Podcast. Great minds think alike. It's the Great Minds Podcast. Great minds think alike. It's the Great Minds Podcast. Great minds think alike. You're now tuned into the Great Minds Podcast. You're now tuned into the Great Minds Podcast. You're now tuned into the Great Minds Podcast. You're now tuned into the Great Minds Podcast.